Are you interested in the science of mind like I am? Are you curious about what anxious to awesome really means according to the old Sanskrit texts from India? If you are, then this is your video. Hi, my name is Mira Binza, and I am the co-founder, along with my mom and sister, of Global Family Wellness. We are all about empowering children and families to live a life of well-being, and the original psychology that comes from India is a great way to do that. I have been interested in this since I was in high school. I didn't take my first yoga posture class until I was in my 20s, but I was so fascinated at the detail with which the mind had been studied and articulated. So I'm going to share with you one little nugget from this vast science of consciousness that can really help you practically on a day-to-day basis. We could sit around and talk about psychology and philosophy. I'm totally game for that. But what I really want to do is give you practical tools that you can use today. The subject that I want to talk about is the 3 gunas. These are 3 aspects or qualities of nature. Everything is made up of these 3 qualities or these 3 frequencies or aspects of nature. You can think of it very simply like the 3 primary colors of yellow, red, and blue. Just 3 primary colors. Each one has a different quality, but they combine together to make all the colors that have ever been or will ever be. So you can think about yellow as a peaceful color. That is called sattva guna. Blue is quiet and dark, and you can think about that as the tamas guna. And red is active and energizing, and that is the rajas guna. So these 3 aspects of nature show up in your mind, they show up in your food, they show up in the weather, they show up everywhere. And the reason that it's helpful to know about them and to understand them is because that's what we're made up of. So I'm all about self-understanding. This is a key component of having better mental health. And when you understand it, you can make empowered choices. Whoop, that's what we're all about, right? So let's dig into this a little bit further. When I'm explaining this to children, and I do explain this to young children, I say, what is a flower before it's a flower? And the kids will say, it's a seed. And I'll say, yep, that's right. What's a seed doing? Well, it's not doing much, right? It's dark, it's in the ground, it's inert. So that is the stage of tamas, or darkness, inert, inactivity. Then what happens? Well, all kinds of things start happening. With the nourishment from the soil, the energy of the sun, and the rain, that seed starts to get really active. The shell softens, a taproot emerges, a little sprout emerges, and it gets busy turning into a flower. There's a lot of activity, and that's called rajas. That's a good thing, right? We want the seed to be quiet, and then we want the seed to be in activity. And then what happens? The seed becomes a flower, and a flower just is. It's beautiful. It's being a flower. And that is the state of sattva. It's a state of rest, balance, clarity, and peace. And so we're constantly moving through this cycle just like a flower. A flower doesn't stay a seed. It doesn't stay growing forever. And it doesn't stay a flower fully formed ever either. What happens next? Well, that flower starts to decay, which is activity, as the leaves shrivel and it starts to decompose and become a part of the earth. That's an active process. We're in rajas again, and then it becomes inert. It's part of the dirt until it joins in participating in the growth of the next seed. Our whole life is like this. And guess what? Your states of mind and your emotions are like this too. Sometimes we have a big emotion. We're like, it's overwhelming. And we're afraid it's going to last forever. But nothing does. It moves through this beautiful cycle. And so to be aware of that, we can recognize where we are in that cycle. And we can become the observer, which is better than being like, I feel this way, I feel this way. So we can catch something with our mind and repeat it like a skipping record that goes over and over and over again. But if we step back a little bit and allow it to be, the process of nature will help us move through it. So when you are experiencing something that's overwhelming, if you're feeling resistance or frustration or anxious feelings or anger or anything, you can say, aha, I'm in a state of activity. I'm in a state of rajas. And we can take action to help us move towards another state. So we want to be in sattva, but it's coming and going, and that's okay. That's okay. We can bring ourselves back into sattva. So think about water. Very muddy water is like tamas. It's inert. It's dark. We can't see through it. We have no idea what's in the water because it's so dark and cloudy. And that can be our mind. We can be confused. We can be resisting. And so if that's our state, we want to bring in a little activity. If you're feeling dull and tired and confused or resistant, take a walk, get moving, put on some music and dance, get out there and jump on your trampoline. Do something to bring yourself in a state of action, and that will help you feel more peaceful and balanced. Now, if you're overactive, like think about water being very turbulent and rough, you can see the water and through the water, but it's distorted. You're not seeing clearly. When there's too much activity, like too much anxious feelings or anger or just, a lot of energy that is not appropriate for what you're doing, then you want to get quiet, calm down, be still, bring in closer to tamas, and between the two, you'll find that balance of sattva. It's pretty cool, right? Once you understand and can look and see, like, what state am I in? And then you can do something to bring yourself to a more balanced state. That feels great to know that you can take care of yourself that way. That's it, right? Pretty simple and pretty cool. Now, here are 3 practical tips you can use to experience more of that sattvic state of balance and clarity and peace and calm. The first thing is to get out in nature. Nature is an amazing teacher. She is rolling through the gunas just like everything else, and she's not doing it with any resistance or attachment. So you can see what's coming into action, what is inert and not moving, and what is peaceful and balanced. And you'll start to feel that in yourself as well. So get out into nature and really be present. Take out your earbuds and stop talking to each other and connect with nature. This is a very, very powerful technique to just feel better. So get out there. Nature's waiting to hang out with you. The second thing is to learn to quiet your mind. Meditation is one of the most powerful life skills you can develop, and you can do it at any age, at any time, for any length of time. I recommend 2 minutes. And what you're learning to do is to become more of the observer. Instead of being caught up in your experience, you're stepping back a little bit and you can watch what your mind is doing. It's pretty cool. It's like a circus. And then as you get more practice, you become more skilled at saying, aha, this is what's happening to me. So instead of being like, I'm anxious, you can say, oh, anxious feelings are present with me. Doesn't mean you're never going to feel anxious or angry or irritated again. It means that you're not going to be caught up in the undertow of that emotion. You can say, it's arising, and then it's falling. And that's how it works. The third thing that I recommend is right back to nature, eat a whole foods-based diet. Let's talk about the 3 gunas in relationship to food. Foods that are rajasic or add a lot of extra energy and activity to us are spicy foods, salty foods, sugary foods, and caffeine. So if you're already feeling agitated or anxious and you add that in, it's going to exacerbate it. Tamasic foods are dark. Processed foods don't have any vitality or life in them. Foods that are overcooked or leftovers all are tamasic. They're dark, they're inert, they don't have any energy. Sattvic foods or balanced foods are whole foods, like a whole apple, a whole broccoli. So as much as you can, start eating whole foods and you'll feel more peaceful, balanced, and calm. So I hope you enjoyed diving into the original psychology, the philosophy of yoga. It's so fascinating, and it's been around for thousands of years. It hasn't changed. It's still as practical and as useful today as it's ever been. So can you, for fun, look around your life, pay attention to your emotions, and notice, am I feeling active? Am I feeling quiet and still, or am I feeling peaceful and calm? And those are the 3 gunas. Thank you so much for taking the time to check this out. If you're interested in living a life of well-being based on the original psychology and holistic principles from ancient traditions, then please subscribe to our channel. We've got all kinds of practical tips for you and your family. Go ahead and leave a comment. We'd love to hear from you, and share this with anyone else you think might be interested. Now you can see where anxious to awesome comes from, right? Anxious is a state of rajas, and awesome is a state of sattva. So when we say anxious to awesome, what we really mean is rajas to sattva. Now you know. Have a great day, and we'll see you again soon.